The ultimatum. The observation deck of the Celestial Sovereign hung in the void of space, its crystalline walls offering an unobstructed view of the stars. High Admiral Zaxvor stood with his forearms clasped behind his back, his scaled skin reflecting the distant light of the system's binary stars. For 8 centuries, he had commanded the most powerful vessel in the Galactic Collective's armada, and in all that time, nothing had surprised him. Until today. Unidentified vessel approaching, Admiral, announced his first officer, a slender Parisian whose translucent skin pulsed with nervous light patterns. It's from Earth. Zaxvor's inner eyelids flicked in surprise. Earth? The quarantined world? Impossible. Their technology is primitive. They haven't even colonized their neighboring planets. The readings are conclusive, sir. The vessel originated from Earth, though its propulsion method is unclear. Zaxvor turned to the main view screen as it flickered to life. The ship was small, barely larger than a scout vessel, with a simplistic design that looked almost crude compared to the elegant collective vessels. Yet something about it made his spine plates bristle with unease. "Scan it again," he ordered. "Sir, our scans are being reflected. Whatever technology they're using, it's interfering with our systems." The Admiral's mandibles clicked in irritation. Earth had been under observation for centuries, classified as a developing world unready for contact. Their technology was supposed to be at least 3 centuries away from achieving interstellar travel. The collective had long ago established protocols for emerging civilizations, carefully monitoring their development while preventing any contact that might accelerate their technological growth. "They're hailing us, Admiral." On screen. The view screen shifted to show a human woman with dark skin and close-cropped silver hair. Her uniform was simple, utilitarian, without the ornate symbols of rank the collective favored. Her eyes, however, held a confidence that immediately unsettled the Admiral. "This is Commander Ilara Vega of Earth Space Command," she said, her voice calm and authoritative. "I come as an emissary of Earth's Unified Council." Zaxvor straightened to his full 3-meter height. "This is High Admiral Zaxvor of the Galactic Collective. Your presence here violates multiple collective directives. Earth is a protected world under observation protocol. Return to your planet immediately or face containment." Commander Vega smiled slightly. "Your observation of our world has not gone unnoticed, Admiral. We've been aware of your monitoring stations for over a century. We simply had more pressing matters to attend to." The bridge crew exchanged glances. This was impossible. Earth's detection technology was nowhere near advanced enough to locate the cloaked observation satellites. "You speak falsehoods, human," Zaxvor replied. "Your civilization's technological capabilities are well documented. You have no means to detect our observation posts." "Perhaps your data is outdated," Vega replied. "Necessity is a powerful accelerant for innovation." The Admiral's skin darkened, a sign of growing agitation. "State your purpose here before I have your vessel impounded." "I come with a message and a demonstration." Commander Vega's expression grew serious. "The Collective's policy of containment and manipulation of developing worlds ends now. Earth demands recognition as a sovereign power and equal standing within galactic affairs." Laughter rippled across the bridge. Zaxvor's mandibles spread in the equivalent of a condescending smile. "Demands. Your single world against the combined might of 3,000 advanced civilizations. This is either brave or foolish, Commander." "Neither, Admiral. It is simply necessary." Vega reached for something off-screen. "Allow me to provide a small demonstration of why our demands should be taken seriously." Before Zaxvor could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. "Admiral," shouted his science officer, panic evident in her voice. "Spatial distortions forming around us. The fabric of space-time is folding." "Impossible," Zaxvor hissed. "Full defensive protocols. Ready weapons systems." But the massive dreadnought, nearly 3 kilometers long and equipped with enough firepower to reduce a planet to molten slag, suddenly shuddered. On the view screen, Commander Vega watched calmly as the celestial sovereign was effortlessly displaced 50 light minutes from its original position in less than 10 seconds. When the disorientation cleared, Zaxvor gripped his command chair, his exoskeleton pale with shock. "What did you do?" he demanded. "We manipulated the underlying structure of reality," Vega explained simply. "What you understand as normal space is merely the surface layer of a much deeper cosmic architecture. Humanity has learned to access and manipulate the substrata." The Admiral's mind raced. This violated every known law of physics. The collective's understanding of space-time had been established for millennia, refined through the combined knowledge of thousands of species. Yet this single human vessel had just demonstrated technology that shouldn't exist. "How?" he finally asked, his voice barely audible. "Survival," Vega replied. While the collective expanded slowly through the stars with technologies developed over eons of peace, humanity faced extinction dozens of times on our single, increasingly damaged world. We evolved rapidly, our minds and technologies adapting to each crisis. What took your combined species millennia, we accomplished in centuries. She tapped something on her console, and data began streaming to the collective ship. "These are our terms, Admiral. The High Council has 3 standard days to begin discussions. The coordinates for a neutral meeting ground are included." The science officer examined the incoming data, her eyes widening. "Sir, these specifications, they describe technology we've never encountered before. Some kind of energy manipulation system that operates on principles outside our understanding." A gesture of good faith, Vega explained. "A small example of what we've discovered. Your scientists will find it enlightening." Zaxvor studied the human woman carefully. There was no hostility in her expression, but the threat was clear. "And if the Council refuses these discussions, then we will proceed without you," she said simply. "Earth has remained isolated long enough. We will take our place among the stars, Admiral. The only question is whether the collective will be our ally or become irrelevant." The Admiral bristled at the implied threat, but caution held his anger in check. The human ship had just moved his dreadnought as easily as a child might push a toy. "One more thing," Vega continued. "The observation posts in our solar system have 5 standard days to withdraw beyond the orbit of our outermost planet. After that, we will remove them ourselves." With those words, her ship began to shimmer, its outline blurring as if it were fading from reality itself. In moments, it was gone from both visual sensors and all scanning equipment. "It didn't engage engines, sir," the science officer reported, her voice trembling. "It just ceased to exist in our dimensional plane." The Admiral sat heavily in his command chair. 12,000 years of collective dominance had just been challenged by a species they had dismissed as primitive. His mind struggled to process the implications. "Send word to the High Council," he ordered quietly. "Priority ultraviolet. Tell them." He paused, searching for words that could convey the gravity of what they had witnessed. "Tell them everything has changed." As the message was dispatched, Admiral Zaxvor gazed at the stars through the main viewport. For the first time in his long life, he felt something unfamiliar, fear of the unknown. On Earth, in a simple control room built deep within the Rocky Mountains, Commander Ilara Vega's consciousness returned to her physical body. She opened her eyes and looked at the faces of Earth's unified council gathered around her. "The message has been delivered," she said simply. "And if they choose conflict instead of dialogue?" asked Counselor Chen, his aged face lined with concern. Vega glanced at the quantum matrix humming softly in the center of the room, the true source of humanity's impossible leap forward. "Then they will learn that humanity does not make empty threats," she said. "But I believe they are wise enough to choose a new beginning." She hoped she was right. For all of humanity's advancement, war with the collective would cost billions of lives. But after centuries of being held back, of watching their world strain under the weight of 8 billion lives, of fighting for resources while the stars remained tantalizingly out of reach, they had no choice. Humanity would claim its place in the cosmos, one way or another. The Reckoning. The grand chamber of the collective High Council gleamed with ancient technologies, its vaulted ceiling a perfect recreation of the galactic core. 57 representatives, one from each of the founding species, sat in arsing tiers around a central platform. The air hummed with tension as they awaited the human delegation. First speaker Oryx-san, the oldest living member of the secretive archivists, tapped his crystalline staff against the floor. Though his species had evolved beyond physical bodies millennia ago, he maintained a humanoid form for diplomatic functions, a shimmering silhouette of light contained within an ornate exoskeleton. "The evidence cannot be disputed," he announced, his voice resonating through the chamber. "The humans have somehow developed technology that operates outside our understanding of physical laws." High Admiral Zaxvor stood at attention before the council, his testimony complete. "I witnessed it firsthand. They moved my vessel across 50 light minutes instantaneously. No hyperspace entry, no conventional propulsion." Counselor Tethra, a massive entity composed of living metal, leaned forward. "Preposterous. 10,000 years of combined scientific knowledge from 57 advanced civilizations, and we're to believe a species that only discovered atomic energy 3 centuries ago has suddenly leapfrogged our understanding of reality." "The sensor logs don't lie," Zaxvor insisted. "Whatever they'd discovered, it's beyond anything in our scientific archives." "The question," interjected Counselor Mevlorn, her avian features sharp with concern, "is not whether they possess this technology, but how they acquired it. No species develops such advancement in isolation." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. "Perhaps," suggested Tethra, "they discovered ancient technology. The precursors left many mysteries in the galaxy." Oryxen shook his head, light patterns shifting across his form. "Our archaeological surveys of their system found no evidence of precursor artifacts. Whatever this is, they developed it themselves, which makes them even more dangerous," Mevlorn concluded. "A species that advances too quickly is inherently unstable. Our protocols for developing worlds exist for good reason." The chamber doors parted, and a hush fell over the assembly. 3 humans entered, walking with quiet confidence toward the central platform. Commander Vega led the procession, flanked by an elderly man with dark skin and a younger woman whose eyes constantly darted around the chamber, analyzing everything. "Counselors," Vega began, her voice carrying easily through the vast space. "I am Commander Ilara Vega. With me are Dr. Samuel Okafor, quantum architect, and Dr. Maizong, theoretical physicist. We come representing Earth's Unified Council, and by extension, humanity." Oryxen inclined his luminous head slightly. "You stand before the oldest governing body in known space, humans. Your actions have caused considerable concern. Explain yourselves." Dr. Okafor stepped forward, his voice deep and steady. "For centuries, your collective has observed our world, cataloging our development while deliberately preventing us from advancing beyond certain technological thresholds. Satellites in our orbit emit targeted interference patterns that disrupt specific lines of scientific inquiry, subtle manipulations that kept us contained." Surprised murmurs rippled through the assembly. These operations were among the collective's most closely guarded secrets. "We detected your interference 200 years ago," Dr. Zhang added, "but chose not to confront you directly until we had developed alternatives." "Alternatives?" Mevlorn questioned sharply. Commander Vega nodded. "While your species explored the stars through conventional means, hyperspace corridors, antimatter drives, gravitational manipulation, humanity was forced to look elsewhere. When traditional avenues of advancement were blocked, we explored unconventional theories." Dr. Okafor activated a small device on his wrist. Above the central platform, a complex holographic model appeared, a mathematical representation of reality that made even the ancient Oryxen lean forward in surprise. "We call it substratum theory," Dr. Zhang explained. "The universe exists in multiple layers, like pages in a book. What we perceive as normal spacetime is merely the surface layer. Beneath it lie substructures that operate according to different physical laws. Impossible, Tethera declared. Such theories were explored and discarded by our scientists millennia ago. With respect, counselor, Dr. Zhang replied. Your scientists explored these theories using mathematics based on observable phenomena. We were forced to explore theoretical models that existed outside conventional observation. Dr. Okafor expanded the hologram, revealing equations of staggering complexity. When your interference blocked our advancements in traditional space travel, we turned inward. If we couldn't travel through space, we would learn to manipulate space itself. The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. The demonstration you witnessed, Admiral, Commander Vega addressed Zax-4 directly, was a controlled application of substratum manipulation. We didn't move your ship through space. We altered the fabric of space around it. Orixen's luminous form flickered with what might have been concern. If what you claim is true, your technology represents a fundamental disruption to the established cosmic order. The collective maintains peace by ensuring technological parity among all member worlds. By suppressing advancement, Vega countered. How many species have had their development artificially stunted? How many potential innovations lost because they didn't fit into your established paradigm? Our protocols exist for good reason. Mevlorn insisted. Rapid technological advancement without corresponding ethical development leads to disaster. We've seen entire civilizations destroy themselves. Yet you appointed yourselves the arbiters of that development, Dr. Okafor noted, deciding which species are ready and which must be contained. Tethera's metallic form vibrated with anger. We should end this farce and contain the human threat immediately. Their world can be isolated with our combined fleet until proper protocols are established. Dr. Zhang smiled slightly. Perhaps another demonstration would clarify our position. She activated a control on her wrist device. Immediately, alarms blared throughout the chamber as sensor systems detected massive energy fluctuations. "What have you done?" demanded Zax-4. "Look outside," Commander Vega suggested calmly. The chamber's ornate ceiling, which had displayed the galactic core, shifted to show the space surrounding the collective's capital world. There, hovering in perfect formation around the planet, were thousands of small devices, each emitting a faint blue glow. 5,000 autonomous substratum manipulators, Dr. Okafor explained. Deployed 3 days ago while your defense systems monitored traditional space. They don't exist entirely in your dimensional plane, which is why they remained undetected. This is an act of war, Mevlorn shrieked. No, Commander Vega countered firmly. This is a demonstration of why war would be pointless. These devices could reconfigure the very fabric of space-time around your world in ways your science cannot counter. But that's not why we're here. She deactivated the display, returning the ceiling to its normal state. We don't want conflict. We don't seek dominance. What we want is recognition and equality. Orixen studied the humans carefully, his ancient consciousness considering possibilities that span millennia. What precisely are you proposing, Commander Vega? A new relationship, she replied simply. Earth joins the collective as a full member, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. Your observation posts are withdrawn. Your interference technologies disabled. In exchange, we share aspects of our substratum research, carefully, responsibly, with proper safeguards. And if we refuse, Tethera demanded. Then we proceed independently, Dr. Okafor answered. We'll establish our own network of alliances with non-collective worlds. Create our own future among the stars. The age of Earth's isolation is over, one way or another. The unspoken threat hung in the air. A technological revolution that would render the collective's careful balance of power obsolete. Orixen's form pulsed with complex patterns as he communed silently with the other council members. After several tense moments, he spoke. Your demands are unprecedented, but your demonstration is persuasive. The Council will need time to deliberate and verify your claims. We propose a provisional agreement. Earth will be granted observer status while a joint scientific commission studies these substratum technologies. Commander Vega nodded. Acceptable, with one condition. The Commission operates with full transparency. No hidden agendas, no attempts to subvert or contain our research. Agreed. Oryxen conceded. Though I must ask, why come to us at all? If your technology is as advanced as you claim, you could simply have taken what you wanted. Vega's expression softened slightly. Because despite our different paths, we share a common goal, the advancement of sentient life. Humanity doesn't want to replace the collective or dominate it. We want to transform it into something better. A true alliance of equals, where innovation is celebrated, not controlled. Dr. Zhang deactivated the devices around the capital world with a simple gesture. Consider it a show of good faith. As the human delegation prepared to depart, Zaxvor approached Commander Vega. You took an enormous risk coming here, he said quietly. The Council could have reacted very differently. We've faced extinction a dozen times. Admiral, she replied. Risk is something humanity understands well. She smiled slightly. Besides, we had contingency plans. And now we begin a new chapter, for Earth and the collective. She extended her hand in the human gesture of agreement. After a moment's hesitation, the Admiral extended his upper right arm, completing the gesture. As their ship departed, disappearing into the substrata of reality, the ancient council chamber remained unusually quiet. 10,000 years of established order had been upended in a single day by a species they had dismissed as primitive. On Earth, as Commander Vega delivered her report to the Unified Council, celebrations began in cities across the planet. After centuries of looking up at the stars in isolation, humanity was finally taking its rightful place among them. Not as conquerors, not as subjects, but as equals. The stars had never seemed closer.